allows you to do that, or you'll be writing a story and you'll realize while you're writing it, oh, I'm writing about
So
X.
which happened?
It was the latter on this project.
How long did it take you to write this?
4.5 years.
Wow.
What sort of inspired you?
Wow.
I know, it's ridiculous. What inspired me?
Yeah.
I wrote a story when I was a grad student about Bits and Ash, and it was sort of an effort to explore the feeling that I get as a Jew in America hearing about suicide bombings in Israel. And the story was that Bits heard about a suicide bombing in Jerusalem and knew her brother was living there and was waiting for him to call, and by the end of the story, he still hadn't called. So it was sort of haunting, and I thought I was done with it, but I wound up returning to it later, and it developed into a novel.
Do you think you'll return to these characters again?
What's that?
Do you think you'll return to these characters again?
I think that these characters are much better off without me. I cause them nothing but grief, so I'm glad that they're...
It's grief that makes them grow.
Yeah.
Do you think of them as real people in your life?
They're sort of like imaginary friends.
We all
you know?
imaginary friends.
Yeah. But... so... they became real people to me when other people started talking about them. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how do you know them?
Yeah.
You know, it was really weird to me because they felt like imaginary friends. For 4.5 years, I was with them. I was alone with them all the time. And then suddenly people were talking about them like they were real. So now, yeah, I guess they kind of do feel kind of like friends from my past now.
You have like pictures of their faces?
Oh, I know exactly what they look like. Yeah. But I used to
Cool,
not.
bizarre.
It's so bizarre. At first, I didn't. They used to be blurry to me, and then
Do you ever dream about them?
time, I don't think I have.
What do they look like?
Yeah.
The girl looks like me, kind of.
The girl looks like that.
I mean, since we're talking about narcissism, and I mean, there's descriptions of all of them in the book, so you can read them.
But isn't every character based?
But I don't think you write in the book the girl looks like me.
Someone's reading like,
well, that
"Who's
would
me?"
involve some deductive reasoning. My author photo's on the back.
Who does Ash look like?
No one that
Does
I
he
know.
look like your brother?
No, not really.
Ex-boyfriend?
No,
A friend?
he's an imagined
An actor?
I don't see anybody particular. He looks like himself.
But the girl looks like you. I need
Coincidentally.
Is this her?
I don't know who this is.
It's a model.
Yeah, it's a model. So. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. This is so nice of you.
That was very good. I enjoyed the book.
I'm so glad. I enjoyed our intimate chat.
And it's so good to see you.
Thank you for caring. My next book is not going anywhere right now because I've been on book tour for 2 months. So, but it, theoretically it's happening. It was happening before.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I noticed. It was happening before book tour started. So I'm very much looking forward to getting back to it. After this, I'm not doing that much more traveling. After tomorrow. So. Yeah, so,
How many stops did you do on the
I didn't keep track.
Is
lot.
it just domestic or is it?
Yeah. So far,
What's the most memorable thing that's happened?
On book tour?
Yeah.
Okay, the most memorable thing that's happened was, one of the most, so you asked about my second novel. The novel I'm working on now is a novel set at a weight loss camp in North Carolina. And I worked at a weight loss camp a couple summers ago for 10 weeks, and then I gave a reading a few weeks ago in North Carolina, and one of the kids from the weight loss camp came to my reading and had lost all of his weight.
Oh, cool.
And it made me cry. It was so amazing.
Did you recognize him immediately?
No.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. So that was one of the most memorable things, but a lot of really strange things have happened on book tour. It's been weird. It's been amazing, but
How long did it take you to get the book published after you finished it?
I don't really even know when I finished it because I thought so many times that I had finished it and I hadn't. But from the time I got my agent until the time it sold was about 1.5 years, closer to 2 years. So I got my agent like I guess it was January of '06. Sold it in September of '07. So is that whatever that is?
And how did you get the agent? Right out of grad school, or?
I got my agent represents one of my friends,
Okay.
the author Christina Enriquez. She wrote a book called Come Together, Fall Apart, and then her next book is coming out in the spring. It's called The World in Half. And she had been really happy with her agent, and she's one of my readers. So she read my novel and then asked if she could show it to her agent. And so that was who I wound up signing with.
And how many rewrites did you have to go through?
Probably, after I got my agent?
Yeah.
My agent and I worked on it with her for about, a lot. I did a lot. I did a lot of rewriting, several rewrites. So, yeah. Writing is all about rewriting.
What's your profession while you were writing this?
I've always had odd jobs. I never would take on another career because I didn't want to have a career that wasn't this. So currently I'm teaching and working in a bar and working as a ghostwriter, doing some like freelance stuff. So, but I've done all kinds of things. Like I had a fellowship at San Jose State for a year. I was a writer in residence at a boarding school. Sort of whatever I could do to make writing the centerpiece of my life, and just without really giving myself over to anything else. So.
Were your parents concerned when you said you wanted to be a writer?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you just see concern on their face, or did they express it explicitly?
Well, my mom thought that it was something I should do as a hobby. So I guess that's concern, because I don't think that they knew anybody who did it professionally, and so they didn't. The thing about choosing to be an artist of any kind, as I think many of you know, is that you make up your own life. You don't have a template. Nobody else. When you're an artist, you just have to do what works for you in order to make your art your main focus. So, if you decide you want to be a lawyer, well, you go to law school and then you work in a law firm and you work your way up. There's a trajectory, but for this there isn't, and I think that's concerning. There's never any guarantee of money. There's never, even if you make money, you get an advance on a book, you make a chunk of money. There's no guarantee it'll ever happen again. There's no guarantee that the book is going to go well. So I think that's concerning to many parents, probably.
Especially parents who had, a doctor and,
Yeah,
another son who's a lawyer, and they see
Exactly.
those trajectories, as you say. And then, if both your parents are artists, in my case, my mom's an artist.
Right.
If I said, I want to go be a musician, she'd go, cool.
Right.
Sounds good to me, But I think if you have, parents who aren't that way,
Exactly.
it's a further stretch. I
How
would imagine.
concerning is it to you?
Being a writer?
Yeah, as far as survival,
uncertainty.
financial survival.
The uncertainty has been less devastating since the novel sold. Before that, it was a huge struggle. Now it's still a struggle. I get nervous, but I don't feel the way I did before. Now I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. But yeah, before it was an enormous struggle. Before you have a book, people ask you, what do you do?
Yeah, and you say you're a writer, and they say,
Yeah.
oh, what have you
What
written?
have you written?
Yeah,
Well, all
yeah,
these
where do you
things that
work?
you'll never see,
Yeah, it's a big joke out here, and somebody says they're an
Yeah,
actor.
an
Where do
actor.
you
Oh,
work?
where
Right.
have you
You've
done?
been in-
I've been at the restaurant
So-
down the street with
Yeah,
him.
Jerry's Deli.
Exactly.
I've been in that.
Yeah.
When you were writing your book, what was the most self-revealing part? I hope no one's asked this yet.
Self-revealing.
Yeah, when you come to that part of the book where you're writing it, and then you just sort of, either if you have a pen or if you're at your computer, you just to sit back and go, wow, something that you learned about yourself.
About
maybe
myself.
You didn't really realize before. Was there that moment in this book?
You're so pretty, by the way. You're strikingly beautiful. Self-revealing.